Welcome. Welcome to your Joyful Riches podcast, where you gain precious tips and tools for creating a life that you love with more ease and fun, even if challenges got in the way. And this podcast is delivered alongside the International Childhood Cancer Charity, where our mission is to empower, in addition to emotionally and physically heal one one children with cancer at a time globally. And for this week, we are so honored and so thrilled to have Jennifer with us. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us again. It's such an honor and a delight to have you here again with us. How are you doing today? And how can you share with us what is it that you do?
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be back with you, and I am very grateful for this time. The last time I was on, I was getting over bronchitis, and I couldn't talk without coughing. So this time I'm healthy as a horse, as they say. I'm a practitioner of energy clearing, among other things, and we'll talk about that energy clearing today. And I know you and I have worked together with that, and I do energy clearings for individuals. I do energy clearing for spaces, ancestral clearings, clearings of traumatized pets, a lot of different things, a lot of different options we can do with the energy clearing. So starting with the smallest, the energy clearing for an individual, it's based on the 5 elements, and we do energy clearings that lift away layers of stressed energy in an individual, helping to remove blockages so that their body can find balance, and then healing in mind, body, or spirit.
Oh, wow, that is very interesting. So it's very helpful for people as they are, as for all of us, as we're going through this stressful world that we are in, I'd imagine. Tell us a little more about the energy
Well,
clearing.
and many,
What is entailed in there? Do they have to be there in person? Because I know you are I believe, on the East Coast of the US. So
right. I can actually do it anywhere in the world. So we can do a Zoom just like this, or we can do it in person. And that goes for any of the types of clearings. It can all be done virtually. And just imagine, we're all exposed to energy in this world right now. There's a lot of stress energy with conflicts going on and different things. And those of us who are highly sensitive oftentimes pick that energy up and don't know what to do with it, and really sometimes don't even know that it's not our energy, and our systems become overwhelmed, and we become sick from it, or we can have issues with stress or anger or a lot of different things. So energy clearing is useful to all of us in this world today, so that we can help release some of that energy that we've picked up.
that is very interesting and very good information on how we pick up people's. So you're saying that we pick up other people's energy. It sounds like how it is. Now, what brings you to do this? Do you kind of like, growing up amused by mysticisms and energy and said, you know what? It just sounds so cool. Maybe I can. I'm being silly apparently.
Yeah,
But
right.
or what brings you into doing energy clearing?
Well, actually, all my life I have been very sensitive, and I knew things that little kids wouldn't normally know or understand. I knew when loved ones had passed before anybody else knew. I knew things were, I knew more. Intuitively, I knew more than I was told on things that were going on. And when I was growing up, you didn't pay attention to those things. You didn't talk about them. But the older I got, the more intuition came into my world and helped me to understand. I worked with cancer patients for 23 years as an advocate, and in doing so, I would know what they needed before they even came into my office. I knew what I needed to do to help them, how to find solutions to their challenges and things like that. And as you well know, as working with individuals that are struggling and facing cancer, I was picking up their energy. And I found this work and was receiving my own personal clearings and space clearings and ancestral clearings, and found that it was a perfect fit for me. So I studied and trained and became a practitioner, because it changed my life, and I wanted to be able to do that for others. So I can, do this now for anyone, anywhere in the world, and make a difference in their life like it made for me. And that's kind of where it came from. And I use my intuition when I do the clearings. And as I clear, oftentimes I'll have intuitive hits as to what's releasing, and understanding of what the stressor was in the individual or in the space, that type of thing.
Oh, that's very interesting. That's beautiful to hear all these different and all the different type of clearings. With you mentioned a personal clearing for stress and all sort of different things, but you also mentioned ancestral and space clearing. I have questions with that. So you
Sure.
said everything's energy. What about ghosts? Are ghosts real?
Are ghosts real? Yes, yes. There are spirits that don't cross over, and not because they don't want to. Oftentimes, it's because death took them by surprise, or there was something unfinished. Oftentimes, when I'm doing a space clearing, I'll feel energies in the home that are energy memories of an individual, strong individual, might have left strong energy memories. And that's very common. Not as common as to actually find a ghost, but I can also be a rescuer. I'm also considered a rescuer, or I can send people into the light, if you want to say it that way, in a peaceful manner. So yes, that does happen at times. And sometimes it's, the family seems to know before I even take on the clearing, and oftentimes they reach out because they feel something's going on there, and it's taken care of by the time that the space clearing is completed, and so that there's balance in the home again, and that individual or that spirit or that entity, whatever you want to call it, is now in where they belong.
Oh, that's beautiful. So you are in a way it's kind of like in a gentle way, sounds like when you said it, the ghost busting. So that's beautiful.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbuster, right?
except
Yeah.
except I don't use except I don't use that, that type of energy to to release them. I release them peacefully so that they can go into the light, so to speak, in a peaceful manner, and become, in the plane that they belong in. So yeah, that's part of it. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you don't explode them into whatever they you
No,
allow
no,
them to
no.
evolve
I
in a
don't or
way.
suck them into some vault. Yeah, no, I don't do that. I just
Oh
just
my.
just let them go to where they belong.
That is beautiful that you allow them
It, it,
a more complete I guess evolutions of their energy or something.
Right. And the energy is quite appreciative, and it's actually a beautiful moment when it actually happens, when I'm able to do that and release them from this plane.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Now, so we talk about personal where it helps with your stress and your life, and the space grilling and cost budget just come to me. I'm like, space grilling, but what about cost, And and you mentioned ancestral grilling. What is ancestral grilling? It's kind of like you clear the whole family and grandma and grandpa and the great grandparents, or what if
Well,
if they already passed?
Well, what an ancestral clearing does is clear the individual. Say, for example, if you said, Jennifer, I'd like to hire you to do an ancestral clearing for me. And so what I would do is I would do a clearing, a personal clearing for you, as I do. And then I would clear your mother, and then all her ancestors, and clear your father and all his ancestors. Now, this takes hours and hours and hours of work to do this. It's not something simple, and it takes a lot of my energy to connect to the energy of those that have passed. So once someone passes over, their energy can remain. Their energy can remain in our DNA, and because they didn't leave things behind because they wanted to. Or you might have an ancestor that may have had a hard life, and you're still living out their karma, so to speak. So when you do an energy clearing, it helps to release that stressed energy from those who have gone, and also for those who are here. And it's actually quite powerful, and my energy clearings are gentle, but they are powerful. You're not going to just like feel in a second like you got hit by a truck and all this stuff happened. It's a gradual release. The releases happen, but then there's shifts that will happen continually for a bit, depending on the type of energy you have, or energy clearing that you have.
That is very interesting. You mentioned about their energy stuck in your DNAs or something like that. And we know as a grief specialist, we know very well something called transgenerational grief.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that grief actually changed your DNA, because the moment grief happened, it changed the fancy word is your DNA methylations. And we see this in people like the First Nation in Canada, people who's been through Holocaust, or people in Native American, and so forth. So that's very interesting. And sometimes I'm grateful that with all the different skills I have been able to help them. But this is one of the most common thing that people come in and they say, oh, I tried therapy, and I tried counseling, and I tried hypnosis, and I tried 15 different medications, and I'm still stuck. It seems like there is always something not quite right, and so on and so forth. But it's very interesting to hear that the energy from the ancestor can be stuck in their DNA.
So sometimes you'll look at a family and you'll see patterns in a family that continue, and it's just for example, patterns of infidelity after generation after generation after generation. You can continue to see this, and all of the siblings, all of the family. And so there's oftentimes you can look back, and in the clearing, and I can when I do the ancestral clearing, there's times where I might feel intuitively that this was part of that ancestral let's say gift, the gift that keeps on giving to the different generations, because it wasn't solved or forgiven or whatever the reason was that it wasn't. So that's something that could come up. But oftentimes people in life feel like they're going through something that they don't understand why they're going through it. Why do I have this? Doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. And it can be because it was left to you, inadvertently, not on purpose, through your DNA, through an ancestor who was, lived, decades ago, that just happened, or hundreds of years, whatever it may be, left it behind for you to solve because they passed before it was complete.
Wow, that is really interesting. So for some people who consistently have bad luck all the time, so to say, and they're the nicest. Sometimes these people really are, and some people are like, yeah, like you're the nicest person, the kindest, nicest, conscientious, and they work really hard, but it seems like they have an eternal one after another bad luck, and they do
it could be,
everything. Yeah, you see kind of like you can see they try their very best in everything, and they still like, oh my God, we just two step forward, one step back, two step forward, one step back. And so that could be from a generation. So, and it's not even
it could very well be. I mean, there's a lot of things that influence us, our lives, and energy that we pick up as a child, but we're picking up energy from the moment we're conceived. And we're picking up other people's energy, and then the energy that someone else might dump on us, then once we take a hold of it, then we give it more energy, and we ruminate around it, and we try to make sense of it, and then we don't sleep at night, and so that energy grows and grows. So going through these clearings helps to release the energy that's blocked, and helps the energy to flow freely within your body, your system, or the home, or the system of your family. That family connection helps the energy to flow better, so that healing can happen there as well.
Yeah, interesting. Well, what about talking about generations, then what about things like curses? Are those real, or that's just people fantasy or excuse it for not getting things done, so to say?
It depends on, what group of individuals you speak to. So someone might call it a curse, someone might call it karma, some might call it crazy. Whatever you call it, I think there's a reason to at least look at it as we try to make sense of these things as human beings. We try to make sense of everything and we label them how we see fit. So I think that if you want to call it that, ancestral clearing, I believe, can help with reducing that in a family, or helping to take a different turn maybe this time around.
That's interesting.
I went through, when I started doing clearing or having clearings done to me, personal clearings are where I started, because it's the basic space or place to start. But I've had all of the clearings, and I had ancestral clearings done on myself. I've had them done on each one of my children, on my ex-husband, because I want the best that can happen with my children. Obviously, I always say my children are the reason I breathe, so I want them to have as much balance as possible in their lives. And it can be life-changing. Ancestral clearings can be life-changing, as well as just even personal clearings. So yeah, it's the reason I got into it, because I've always been a caregiver. I've always been taking care of other people in my life through my work at cancer and that kind of thing. But this way I can reach anybody in the world, and they can reach out and I can help, because I'm a helper for all. And it changed my world. So I want to be able to help others see that same results that I've had.
That's amazing. That's interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting on what people put in there in pranic healing. I'm a pranic energy worker. We have this story one, and it's interesting how it in different form of work too. But with the pranic energy, we have this they actually know the real person, the somewhere in Africa, and then like you said, everything energy, and they know that there is kind of like a disagreement between two groups, and they already know that the way they solve disagreements is they have some kind of like an elder from a different group come help them out and make a decisions, and these elders apparently already know where if this is where they still the tribe part of the different regions, right? Africa and Asia, and this is actually also having been originally from Indonesia. It's something that Indonesians believe as well. So this elder, if they solve, they help a dispute or something, and they give a decisions that's not favorable to one person or one party, they got to be prepared for so-called curses, because they're going to just put whatever energy to this, and then this one in pranic healing, as the master was teaching us different things there, this guy from these regions, he thankfully was skillful, but the story was he went and take care of this dispute, and he walked there and walked back. By the time he walked back home, he was fine. His house was fine, because he learned through pranic healing skill to protect himself,
yeah.
and protect himself and his house and things like that. But he didn't think about protecting his jacket and his shoes that was outside of the house. And by the time he walked back from this meeting location to his house, the jacket and the shoes disintegrated. Like, the shoelaces start falling off, and the zipper just came up, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. It sounds kind of a little bit like action movie." But depend on what you believe.
Sounds like you don't want to make that guy mad, right?
Exactly. I'm just like, stay away from that regions altogether. So,
Right, right.
but back to what you do, and then so it's kind of like energy, whether you believe it or not, right? And so, but what experience people can have? What sort of experience people might have if they work with you for energy clearing, and how do they connect with you?
They can reach out to me via my website, and that's Jennifer, Jennifer, Lane, Lane, then Riefler, Rief like in Frank, Ler.com. And you can check out the website and you can email me through it if you have questions. You can register for clearings there as well. But what was the first part of that question? I lost it trying to think of my website. How do they reach out to me, or how do they feel? So typically, when someone has a clearing, at the time of the clearing, they may feel a calmness come over them, a relaxation as the energy starts to release, and then the energy is releasing, but the energy will continue to shift within the few days or even weeks, as after the clearing's done. But a lot of people feel less burdened, and again, once your system is balanced, then it can start to healing, whether again it's emotional or physical or mental. It can help to heal those things when things fall in place. And you don't just get one clearing and be done with it, because as I say, we collect and pick up energy and create our own energy from the moment we are conceived. And we feel the energy of the world. So we feel all this energy and stress. And when during COVID, if we remember back to COVID, how everyone felt. And it was the energy of the world that was causing a lot of issues, not only just, not that it was just anything. I mean, COVID was huge, right? And it affected so many people in our world. And the fear that was in the world was something that was radiating everywhere. So that's a very common, thing that people understand. We felt that energy. And again, some of us are more sensitive than others to that and understand the energy. But, during a clearing, I don't release all the good energy. I don't release any good energy. I'm releasing the stressed energy, the energy that has caused us issues. When I'm clearing a home, I don't release memories or things like that. What's releasing is the energy that was stressed, that's causing issues in the home. So it's something that once those blockages are removed, then energy can flow and things can work better, and the system starts to gain health.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful to hear. Would you care to share? It sounds like it can work when a lot of other things doesn't. Would you care to share kind of like a miraculous story, if there is any, on for somebody who experience after they have an energy clearing, whether it's in a relationship or their work, their health, or something?
One comes to mind as you mentioned that, so I'll share this. So I did a space clearing for an individual, and when I do a space clearing, I don't just clear the space, which happened to be the home of her and her children, but I cleared the people that live there as well. And if there's pets, they get cleared as well. So once the space is cleared and the energy has shifted and changed, the individuals are cleared so that their energy can match the fresh energy of the home. So in clearing this individual's home, it had been her childhood home, and her father lived there and at a point, and then she started renting it from him, and so he's living elsewhere. So during the clearing, she mentioned to me, "Is it okay if my mom passed away here?" And I said, "Of course it's okay that your mom passed here, because that's a natural thing, right? We're born and we go, and that's just the way life is. We all pass." So I was in the living room, and as I was clearing, and I did this clearing in person, and I use a dowsing rod to follow the energy. And if the dowsing rod starts to spin, then I clear that spot where the energy is spinning. That means that there's a blockage. Well, as I was clearing, I look over and I have visions, and I feel things. I feel emotions. I feel pains in my body. I have phrases that come to mind. And anyway, as I'm clearing this, I looked over and I saw a woman standing in the window. And I described this woman to her perfectly. And she said, "Well, that sounds like my mom." And I said, well, she said she used to look out the window all the time, when we catch the bus or she'd wait on us. And I said, because I felt like whoever this is, they're waiting for something. And she goes, well, it sounds like my mom. So I said, okay, that's probably, again, an energy memory of something that happened all the time, that was, done constantly. So then as I continued through this room, all of a sudden I started getting very strong pains and nausea and feeling of sick, and my legs went out and I went down on the ground. I collapsed onto the ground, and I knew it wasn't my energy. So I, just kind of went with it and felt it. And then she happened to be in the room and saw me, and she said, that's where my mom died. And I said, I know. And I could feel it. And it came out of nowhere. And, for her mother had been sick, but she didn't know she was sick to the point that this was going to happen. So at that moment, when I collapsed, I realized that her mom was still there, that she had not crossed over, because she obviously, this took her by surprise and that type of thing. And the woman told me that she never felt comfortable in this room. She just couldn't sit in here because it always made her sad. And anyway, long and short of her mom, went into the light and crossed over to the plane that she belonged. And I finished the clearing. But after the clearing was over, this individual shared with me that she has always wanted to start her own business. She always wanted to do a bunch of different things. Her boys, within the first week, it made a huge difference in her boys and how they were behaving. And, one of them kept his room clean when he hadn't before, or, something like that. But I mean, just the dynamic between the family, there was more of a unit. And she started her own business. She was given some money to start her own business. And, within a couple of weeks, her whole life changed. And she's, always very supportive of my work, and tells anybody who wants to hear it that this was such a miraculous experience for her.
Wow, that is beautiful. That is awesome how it's kind of when you take the unsettledness in the unsettled energy in the house, I would say that, it's make everybody feel better naturally. That is awesome. That's
Right.
that's really beautiful. Well, thank you so much. This is such a beautiful information for people who are open to explore different opportunity, I would say, to have a better life in an easier way, right? Instead of like always fighting up the mountain, so to say.
Right. Right.
And I love that. And as we complete these conversations, do you have a final message for our audience?
I always like to tell people to listen to your body. Listen to your body. Your body's going to tell you when something's wrong, and just be in tune with that. And if you feel something, if you walked into a room or an event and you felt great before you got there, but all of a sudden you started feeling anxiety or stressed or uncomfortable, typically what you're picking up isn't your energy. So you could leave, or you could just be mindful of the fact, okay, that's not my energy, and be able to be more comfortable with it. But, listen to your body, listen to your energy, and be in tune with that as much as you can. And it takes practice. If people have questions, again, they can reach out on my website, and I'm happy to answer questions for them. And I appreciate, again, the opportunity to do this. It's always good to share what people call my gift. It's very, very nice to be able to share that with other people.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing us all this beautiful wealth of informations again. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And for you, my friend, who are joining us today, please share these informations with your friends and families, because they too deserve to be able to thrive and accomplish what they would love with more ease and more fun. And this is Dr. BirgitteTan with your grief specialist and founder and president of the International Childhood Cancer Charity. And I thank you very much for joining us, and I look forward to see you again very, very soon.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome to your Joyful Riches podcast, where you gain precious tips and tools for creating a life that you love with more ease and fun, even if challenges come.